Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Cynthia Linox Show. I am your host, Cynthia Linox, here again to remind you that this is the best season of your life. Whether or not you pay attention to that statement, or whether or not you see it as an affirmation or perhaps a mantra, as you begin to repeat that affirmation every single day, you will begin to see, and you will begin to recognize the changes in your life. You will begin to know it, not just believe it, but to know it, to know that this present moment constitutes the best season of you being alive, the best season of your life, regardless of your present situation now. It is the best season of your life. And every day, I encourage you to declare that it's the best season of your life. When you continue, as you uh, journey through this self discovery, there's so many things that you will discover about yourself. And then there's so many questions that you will have, because what you have to understand is that the conditioning that you have had for years, and it continues, societal conditioning and so forth, it is so embedded in you that your whole life is lived on autopilot. And if you're listening to this show, it's because there's something on the inside of you that wants change. Well, let me tell you, my friend, not only are you able to reinvent yourself, you can recreate yourself, you can rebrand yourself, you can become a new you, a person that is confident, that is bold, bodacious, audacious, assertive, someone that can face life, figuring things out, knowing that life is in your favor. It will affect your whole being, even your health. Because when you know that you can, number one, take responsibility for yourself and resolve your own issues, you stay in your own lane. You stay in your own lane and you pay attention to the self. And that's why I say this show has a lot to do with being selfish unapologetically. Because if you don't take care of yourself, if you're so busy taking care of everyone else, being the mother hen to everyone else, the kids, the husband, the family, and, you're the problem solver for everyone. You are the multitasker. I used to consider myself a multitasker, but not anymore. I stay fixed and focused in whatever I set my mind to do. I do. And I encourage you to do the same. Because when you're multitasking, you're trying to do too much and you're not really focusing on you, on the issue at hand. It's all about you. As you continue to grow in this whole journey, you will have a lot of questions. A lot of questions about life, a lot of questions about yourself, a lot of questions about your environment, your family, your kids, everything. And let me tell you, my friend, the answer to these questions, they're not they're not coming from outside. The answer to the questions that you have, and you've got to ask questions. These are difficult questions. As a matter of fact, there are questions that you cannot even pose to someone else because, number one, they'll just say, just settle down, or, it is what it is, and that's just life and so forth. And it's not. The answers to the questions that you have comes from within, because that's where your truth lies. Within, comes on the inside out. You don't go asking someone about this or asking someone's opinion. I used to do that. There was a time that I did that until I come to realize, wait a minute, no, it's on the inside. It's my truth. And then you start living by your truth. All those questions. Why do I believe what I believe? There's this whole thing going around. now that older people are saying that society is treating them as if they're invisible. They're not being taken into account. They're just being ignored. Why would you buy into that narrative? You don't have to buy into that narrative. It doesn't matter what society says. It doesn't matter what somebody else says as well. It doesn't matter who says what. When you have come to a place of knowing who you are and your value, you don't have to submit to those ideas and those thoughts, that narrative that you are invisible. Why? You're not invisible unless you see yourself that way. You need to know your value and your worth. Someone, I am also a life coach, and I heard someone kind of try to minimize the work of a life coach and said, and now they want to charge for that. Well, yes, because if we did the work to go and train and to come to an understanding of the human element and things that, how to resolve and how to help people navigate through the situations, whether it's healing or trauma or whatever, the different types of life coach. If we have gone through the work, if we've done the work to train, then yes, our value is what it is. You may not be a client, and that's fine. You go on and live your life, and that's fine. As a matter of fact, there was another person also that wrote to me, and she said, I have a lot of problems. I have all these issues and whatever, and I need help. Those were her words. I still have the email. And they said, can you kind of give me an idea of your setup, how it works, and your fees and so forth? I wrote back and I gave her a whole highlight of how I do it. I said there's a 30-minute consultation, free consultation, complimentary consultation. I don't like to say free because it's going to cost me time, but it's a 30-minute complimentary consultation, and just to see if there's a good energy, to see what vibes you get, and if you choose to hire me as your coach, this is what it's going to cost you. So she wrote back and she says, "Wow." She said that I don't have that kind of money. That's expensive. I said, well, there are different life coach throughout. You can find one that's cheap, and hire somebody that's cheap. And so they wrote back and they said, "Well, I'm not looking for cheap. I'm looking for quality." Well, for me, the dialogue ended with my email back to that person. Because if you're looking for quality, if you're looking for someone whose life reflect what they share, if you're looking for someone who you believe, or there was the initial energy to communicate with that person, to see if you were prompted initially, and then because you in your mind estimated or thought that this person is a quality person that you can deal with, that you can work with. But then you come back and say, "Wait a minute, you're too expensive." Well, they don't. I know my value, but they didn't know my value. They need to look for someone that's cheap, which is fine. I said we are not a match. We are not a match. When you know your value, when you know your worth, then you can show up with a sense of confidence. And that's what happens. You begin to ask questions. You begin to dig, to search. A lot of people are caught up in fear and trauma and needing healing because of conditioning, social conditioning that's come down the pike in their entire lives, and they're living their lives on autopilot. They want freedom, freedom to be themselves, to self-express. And as you continue to ask these questions, now remember, when you ask questions, the answer, again, it's not coming from outside to give you a response, to tell you, well, this is the answer to it. No, 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 no. That's what you've had all your life. People telling you what to do, giving you their opinions, their view, their position, their stance on this. That's not what you want. You want to know, how do I see this? What is my perspective of me? How do I see this? What is my perception of myself? And once you start answering those questions and start seeing yourself totally different, with a higher regard, you will no longer have a low budget mindset. And when I say low budget mindset, I don't mean, your finances, that too, but you don't have a mindset where you think low of yourself and you don't take action. You hesitate, you procrastinate, you wait because of fear. That low budget mindset will disappear once you start asking the question and knowing the why of what you believe. Again, the narrative of you being invisible, that can only be true if you own that, if you accept that as truth. If you think that you are invisible as you grow older, no one is paying attention to you, the kids, the grandkids, whatever, that's not so. First of all, it's good to get affirmation, validation from people. That's okay. But you shouldn't live for that. You can affirm yourself like we start the program. This is the best season of your life. And why? Because of all the things that you're discovering about yourself. You're getting a whole brand new perspective. And with that comes, builds confidence and boldness and assurance and, bodaciousness. And you're just fierce about life, being confident, and you're emitting this type of energy. You're aligning with your frequency. You're when you are in alignment with with your truth. I'm telling you, it's like they're like doors that open, and people begin to see you differently. A lot of it has to do with how people perceive you. And when you show up confident, there is no room to doubt who you are because your energy speaks before you even arrive. And when you show up with an energy that spells confidence. I just had a situation in the store. A few months ago, it was December, and I didn't even know that. The point is, I went to this cosmetic store, makeup store, and where I shop all the time, and I bought this item, this pencil. Paid $25 for this little pencil, and it's one of my main staples. My main makeup staple. So I like to have extras so that I don't run out. So I bought it and had it in my makeup drawer, and I went to get it not too long ago because the one that I was using, came down to a stub and I threw it out. So I went and I got the new one. And when I got the box, I look at the color on top and I thought, wait a minute, what's this? I opened it and I realized it was not the color that I use. It was like totally, I could not even try to improvise with that color. I need, it was like a bright pink, and I am melanated. I need something a little more intense. Not a little more, I need something that's intense. So immediately, I wanted to have it. So I went to the store. Fortunately, they're closed. And I said, I picked up the item. I went and I looked to make sure that they had my shade, my color. And I picked up the item and I went in line, and one of the girls came and said, one of the associates, one of those where they can, check you out without standing in line and so forth. And she says, then I said, all I need is an exchange. I bought this, and they gave me the wrong color, the wrong shade. And this is the one, this is mine. Here's my receipt. I had my receipt. I kind of hang on to my receipts for a while. I said, here's my receipt. I said, this is the one that they gave me when I, asked for it. But this is the one that I really need. This is the wrong color. So she said, "Oh, I can help you." So she went to, she got the receipt and she looked at it, and then she said, "Well, I cannot exchange this for you because it's past 60 days." I said, "Well, I just want to do a swap. I'm not asking for, return, refund, none of that. I just want to do a swap. Here is the one that was given to me when I purchased it, and here's the one that I really need. I just need to do a swap." She said, "But I can't do it because, our policy is after 60 days, there's no exchange, whatever." I said, "Well, I said, I respect the policy and so forth, but I need someone to make an exception because I'm not willing to lose $25." And she said, "Well, I just can't do it." I said, "Well, where's the manager? Is there a manager here?" And she said yes. And she went and she talked to Sierra. And Sierra comes and she said, and I said, "Sierra, I just want to do an exchange. When I bought this, they gave me the wrong one. I just want to do an exchange, and this is the one that I want." And Sierra said, "It's past 60 days, and we just can't do it." The day that I went there was like 3 days after the 60 days. It was like 63 days. And I said, "Well, I am not willing to lose $25, and I have no use for this. That I have no use for that color." And she insisted. She says, "Well, it's 60 days and I can't." I said, "Sarah," I said, I heard you the first time and I heard what she said as well. I'm asking for you to make an exception. I'm asking for someone to make an exception because I shop here all the time. You see me in here all the time. And I know what your policy says. As a matter of fact, I did not even, I have my receipt. You see that I bought it here, but I didn't think about 60 days because when I buy something, it's not my thought, my plan to return it." And she insisted. She said, "We can't do it." I said, "Well, I'm going to have to speak with someone who can because I need someone to make an exception." And she said, "Well, you can call customer service." And I said, "Well, can you call them?" And she said, "Well, no, you would have to call them." So she gets the number and she gives me the number and I called right there. So Marissa answered the phone. I get names because when I'm talking to someone in person or on the phone, I like to address them by their names. That kind of works well for me. So I said, "Marissa, I really need your help because I'm here at the store and they are not being helpful. This is what happened." And I gave her details, everything. So she checked I guess my record. Every time you buy something, it goes in. And I said, I bought this, evidently it was in December. I didn't check the receipt. But anyway, it was in December. And the guy that helped me, his name is Dario. Dario gave me the wrong color. And I know I didn't ask for this color. And I just realized it because I just went to use it because the old one, expired, was finished, stub. And I'm just here to do an even exchange, and they're sending 60 days, so and so. And she says, "I understand." I said, "Marissa, you are a consumer, you understand what I'm saying." And she says, "Yes, blah blah." And she just went on. She says, "I've taken all the report and I'm going to submit it to um our leader or management leadership, and it will take 7 to 10 days, before they get back with you." I said, "Marissa," I said, "No." I said, 7 to 10 days is just not going to work. I need someone to I need someone to resolve that now." I said, "Because I can't wait. I know that I can buy another one, but that's not what I'm willing to do." I said, I'm not willing to put out another $25 for a pencil when I have a brand new one here that can go back on the shelf, and because it's never been used, and I can just walk out with the one that I have, with the new one. She said, "Well, yes, it does take 7 to 10 days." I said, "You know what? What do you suggest I do in the meantime?" So she said, "Buy a new one, and once we resolve the issue, then you can return that." I said, "No, I don't want to do that." I said, "Then I'm out another $25. I don't want to spend $25 again." So she said, well, that's, I'm going to submit it to our senior management and see what they can do. And then, 7 to 10 days. I said, okay, remember, I'm responding to the issue. I'm not reacting to it. I didn't, I wasn't ugly with anyone. Well, that's not my style anyway, to be ugly with, I was just responding. So I left the store. I said, thank you, Sierra, and I just left. The next morning, I get this email, really nice email. The email arrived with an energy that someone really wanted to help, that someone felt my pain and was really ready to help. So I read the email and they said, they'll review it and, 7 to 10 days. No, 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 no. And that was Nicole. Nicole sent the email and there was a phone number. I called back and I got Caitlin, not Nicole, Caitlin. And I started talking with Caitlin. I shared my issue with her. She read the email, she saw it, and I said, Caitlin, I said, I'm a melanated woman. That color that they gave me, that pink, I wouldn't know what to do with it. So all I wanted was to do an exchange. And I said, I am not willing to lose $25 at all. Just so she said, I can understand. And again, she repeated the policy, the 60-day and so forth. She said, tell you what we're going to do. And then she paused for a second. She says, we're going to give you a $25 credit. We're going to credit your account with $25 so that you can buy it again, so that you can buy the one you want. And I said, and what am I supposed to do with this one? She said, you can keep it, you can throw it out, or you can give it away. I said, oh, okay. I said, that'll work. I said, I appreciate that because it just doesn't make any sense. And I don't know why they could not resolve it in the store. And then she went on to explain to me, I guess, I don't know how, whatever management structure and so forth. The point is, she gave me $25 to for the purchase of a $25 credit. I could do whatever I wanted to do with it, and I could purchase a new one for $25 and buy a new one for $25 and the old, the brand new one that I have, which is like a pink, do whatever I want to do with it. Well, let me tell you, my friend, I kind of used it. I made it work. I can incorporate it into my. It's not something that I would buy again, but and I wouldn't. It's not something that I would give away because that is such a personal thing to me. But I have found use for it. And I had the $25 where I could repurchase the right shade, the right color. But when I spoke with, starting with, the associate, then Sierra, the manager at the store, then Marissa on the phone, and then Nicole sent me that email, and then I got Caitlin. And Caitlin is the one that said, and when I was talking to Caitlin, I says, you are a consumer and you know how this works. I mean, $25 for a pencil, first of all, it's pricey. But that's not even my complaint. I'm just saying they gave me the wrong one. When you go into the store and they say, may I help you? And then they go and they pick and my error is that I did not check to make sure that it's the right color, the right item. I didn't. So now I do. Now I check everything. I open the box and I check everything. But the confidence that I approach this whole situation with the confidence and my being assertive and you know what to say and you feel the energy of everyone that when Sierra came up I kind of knew that she wasn't going to bend or flex at all. And as a matter of fact, I don't know if she had the authority to do that. I think she was a lead. I don't think she was a manager. So, it's a big difference there. And I understand how that works because I've worked in corporate America, where I had to make some decisions that were unconventional, totally out of the norm, and was never questioned. I made decisions that as a matter of fact, all the managers even questions like, well, you just make decisions. And when you have that kind of confidence, when you exude that kind of confidence, that type of boldness, that sense of assertiveness, no one is going to question you unless it's something like crazy. But they this same girl, Sarah, in the store, right, she said to me, "Oh, you're always in here, and I like your makeup." And she just go on with saying, "Thank you." And so she sees me a lot in the store. I mean, when I go to buy stuff, because I'm always experimenting stuff, and so she knows that I'm a frequent shopper in the store. So anyway, the point I'm making is that when you go through this whole journey of discovering who you are with it, and when you start doing the work, there are a lot of people that are afraid. They're afraid to stand, to stand up for yourself, to to speak for yourself, to make a point. And sometimes you're lost for words and so forth. Well, you will get the right words when you show up with a sense of confidence. You have the right words to resolve issues, to take care of stuff, to make sure that you are heard. And for some reason, I just knew that it was going to be resolved in a way that was to my satisfaction. I just knew it. It's just that you have to do the work. Like I could have just walked out of the store and say, "Well, okay," and I would have been so not happy because there were that night. I don't believe there was no uh, manager on board to, like, but the point is, I insisted after I got, the lead, Sierra, and then she said, I guess my next step would be you'll have to call customer service, which I did. She gave me the number, and I called, and I got it resolved. I mean, really, it was a sweet resolution. I mean, they gave me another pencil, the money to buy another pencil, the right pencil, which I went back the next day and did, and I get to keep the pink color that was given to me in error. The thing is that, my friend, when you go through these the steps, to discover who you are, and you discover that you are a magnificent creative being. You are an extraordinary person. There's boldness within your DNA. There's truth. There is that thing that paves the way for you to be who you want, and to live the life that you want, and to create situations that are favorable to you. It's in your DNA. There lies your truth. That's why when you have uh, questions when you have questions, don't look for the answer outside of you. It's from within. That's where your truth is. And that's why I said truth is not objective. Truth is subjective, because what works for me, like, you would probably approach this whole situation differently. And you, why? Because we are different. We have our own personalities. We have our own individuality. We are different. The point is, it has to work. And how does it work? As you open your mouth and you speak, there is an energy that you emit. There is an energy that goes out and, just brings in favor or sets things up for you in your favor. You will know that. Again, not believe it, but to know it. Comes a point where you know things, but you've got to do the work. This doesn't happen just, when I come here and I share with you, this is not just to motivate you, because people get motivated and they feel good, and then they're gone. This is life transforming. That's why when this person talk about, it's too expensive to pay for a life coach, they, They're in their same quagmire. Same thing. Nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. Because if you said that you need help, then that's what you need to go after. You need to find help for yourself because you're worth it. Change your life, recreate yourself, reinvent yourself, rebrand yourself. You may have made some atrocious mistakes in your life and done things in the past that, sometimes haunt you. I'm telling you, forgive yourself. Forgive yourself if it has to do with, you know, someone else or whatever. Forgive yourself. Acknowledge it, recognize it, own it, deal with it, see it. Why did I do that? And then move on. And then you move on. Why do you believe what you believe? Those are some of the questions that will come up. Why, if you're afraid of what people will say, why? Who are they? Who are these people that you are afraid of that will have an opinion of you? Does it matter? Everyone is going to have an opinion of you, but that's fine. If you can just walk by, and I'm telling you, learn one thing. And this is something that I'm learning, that I discovered that I need to learn. Like, so if someone says something, I would love to go into this kind of uh motivational type and get into all this and whatever, and share this. And now I am saying no. Just answer the question and that's it. Unless the situation uh lends room for that, just answer the question and move on. Give no explanation, give no details, none of that. You just move on. It is your life. It is your life. And you've got to take control of your life. My friend, you've got to do the work. It's not just, when I say a journey of self discovery, you've got to do the work because you know what? I have set up in my mind how many birthdays I have ahead of me. Yet, no one knows. No one knows how many birthdays we have ahead of us. But in my mind, I have set up that I'm going to have this many. That's just my thing. But we don't know. You don't know how many birthdays you have ahead of you. That's why it is so important that you start living and enjoying your life now. Don't wait. There's no reason to wait. Regardless of what you're doing, get the kids and you go. Don't wait. That low budget mindset, get rid of it. Get rid of it and kick it up a notch. And in some circumstances, you may need to change your circle. I keep saying that because I have done that myself. There's certain things, there's certain circles that, you know, and I had lunch with this person last week, and it was so encouraging because there was some connections with some other folks, and when she shared about it, I thought, that's it. It's just something that I've been thinking of, and it's like it just came to me in a platter. Just came to me. And that's what will happen. Things will just show up in your life. Again, situations, opportunities, circumstances, events, people, places. It will just show up at the right time. But you have to do the work. I do the work. I do the work, and it's a lot of work. Guess what? Because it's me. You're talking about a human, and it's interesting because I always, there was a time that I thought when people say, "Oh, we're going to empower a woman," and I used to say, "Well, empower a woman is like, you don't, like what does that mean?" Again, that's one of my questions. Like, what do you mean you're going to empower me? You can't empower me. Well, you know what? I have learned that when you listen to someone else and you hear them, there is this person that I have claimed as my mentor, my coach. Not officially. I've got a coach, but this, and I am telling you, I have been so motivated, so inspired. My whole thought process has transformed. I feel so empowered to go in another direction without fear, without hesitation, without procrastination. And I fully trust that the people that I need to meet and the circumstances and opportunities that it's going to present itself, and it has already started to. Why? Because I'm doing the work. It's for me, my friend. The work that you do is for you. It is for you. It is for you. Check all the narrative that you have about life, about your social encounters. Check all the narrative, and you don't have to believe what you hear. You can create your own jam. You can create your own, your own practice, your own thoughts. This works for me and this doesn't work for me, and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. You can create your own. Why? Because it's your truth. It is what will work for you. You can't, be expecting the answers to your questions from the outside. That's what you've done all your life. And that's why you are probably in the situation that you're in, doubting, wondering, afraid, not sure, questioning. And in most cases, those thoughts, opinion, ideas, views are not yours. I came to realize that. There was a time when I was, and for me, again, I think I've shared this before. I know I've shared it before. For me it was, when I was in religion, and I had to exit that. Why? Because a lot of the things that are taught in religion, I just did not identify. And it was really interesting because my life I lived on autopilot. And fortunately, my husband, when I met my husband, I dragged him into this whole circle, and he never really bought into it, but he was, like he said, what love will do. And we did that for like 15 years until he said, that's it. And it took me a few months. And fortunately, he was not, aggressive about it, but he allowed that time. And after I got it, I started looking at things differently. And I said, no, 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 no. No, 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 no. This does not make any sense. It is not me. It's not what I believe. And I start questioning things. I start, you know, reading in a different way. I got new lens. I got new lens. Other than that, you keep regurgitating the same thing over and over and over and over, and you get nowhere. There's no growth. There's no advancement. There's no progress. And the moment we took that step, that's all we needed to take that step into freedom and a glorious life of bliss. And I'm telling you, I have never regretted one day. Don't miss the people, don't miss anything at all. And those people that are still, our friends and so forth, that's great. But I was come to the point where for me and my husband, I was ready to say enough. Not ready. I did say enough. And we just left 2009, 15 years ago. I had all these questions when I started this journey because I'm like, okay, and I didn't know anything. I didn't really know, I'm thinking, okay, is it the doctrine? Is it the church? Because the people, they were nice people. We had no issues at church at all with our neither the pastors or anyone. We had great relationships with everyone. I didn't leave with any kind of trauma or hurt. None of that. None of that. We said we're taking a sabbatical, and that's kind of how we said it. We're gonna take a sabbatical. We'll be gone for a while, and we just never went back. We just never went back. I was ready. That's why they say whenever the student is ready, the teacher shows up. I was ready. I was ready to do the work. And then I start discovering this whole journey thing. In my mind, I'm thinking you go to another I knew it wasn't another church because my husband was done with that whole ritual. We wanted the freedom to come and go and not, and think of ourselves differently. We had to, well, my husband, he didn't need any kind of any kind of healing or restructuring mindset, none of that. We just went on to live the life that we want. And that is a life of freedom, of travel, of fun, and doing stuff and helping the people that we choose to do, and engaging in travel, and engaging in other cultures, other learning other religions, and just things to learn. Because when you travel, we travel a lot, and when you travel, you want to know what how what how other people live. But that was a big piece, that transition from that life to this life. It was a big deal, and it wasn't easy when I started because I didn't have the confidence. I didn't have the the uh, the assertiveness. As I learned things, I wasn't sure. And it took a while before I could really share things because, I didn't have the confidence. I didn't know. And I read and I read and I read. And then there was this other group of people on social media that, started this whole thing about oneness and all that kind of stuff. And I, came up where I'm like, I'm done. I'm done with all that. I'm done with all of that. Then they say, it's not religion, it's spirituality and so forth. I'm done. I'm done with all of it. And I have what works for me. And that's what I'm saying, my friend. It takes work. It takes work. And there's a comfort zone that's comfortable. And that was even in your mindset. There's a place that is comfortable that you could stay there because it's nurturing. It's what you know. It's familiar, but there's no growth. It's familiar. It's what you know, how you feel, your thoughts. It's familiar, and it's secure, but there's no growth. So I had to get out of that. I had to get out of that comfort zone. And with that, it's like, you know, notifying my friends that this is new me without verbally notifying them. This is just the way I showed up. And my friends knew that this is the new me. Without effort. When I say without effort, I did the work, but it wasn't. I was evolving in my true authentic self. So it was natural. So when I say without effort, it was natural because I yielded to that, to my true authentic self, who I was and what I was all about. until the point where it comes down. Of course, I mean, that's been a while now, and I have the respect of everyone. I did before, but in that space of the old me. But now that I'm in a different space, and the thing of it is that the space that I'm in now, the space that you will step into, this space that you will step into is a space of truth. And when you step into your truth, what happens is that you evolve in your true, authentic self. There is just something about being authentic. You don't have to remember, you don't have to perform, you don't have to pretend, you don't have to lie, you don't have to try to please anyone, you don't have to try to conform to social norms or to uh, traditional expectations. You don't have to do any of that. And then you become so gracious that people respect that. And with it, it brings freedom. Freedom of what? Freedom to be. Freedom to be who you are. And with that, you start savoring the goodness, the pleasures of life. And whatever people think or say or whatever belief they have, because in most cases, my friend, they're limiting beliefs. There are beliefs that will limit you and will hold you back and would keep you from advancing, from progressing, from growing. Why? Because again, you keep regurgitating the same thing, the same belief, the same belief, the same things, the same thing. You just package it differently. And it's the same thing. That's why I share that you have to keep your mind open and be curious about other people's lives, their belief, and allow yourself. Don't reject everything that comes to you. Take interest in the science or you know whatever other philosophies, other mindsets. Listen, you don't have to engage it, you don't have to succumb to it, you don't have to subscribe to those thoughts, but at least you know the difference. And what happens, it puts you in a place where you can have a conversation with whomever, whenever, however. We had a Over the weekend we had a person, a gentleman, a young guy, just got his master's from DBU, and just really progressive young guy. And so we had him over for dinner, spend an afternoon with us. And this person is from the Ivory Coast. The Ivory Coast. Totally different mindset, totally different uh, set of belief system, and we were able to engage in conversations that we didn't agree on everything, but it was interesting to hear his point of view on issues of life, just life, because it's sweet. What's sweet for me may be different for someone else based on your social and cultural experience. And neither one is good or bad, right or wrong. It's just that it's different. It's totally different. So, but as a matter of fact, and after learning the richness, and I knew some things about the African continent and so forth. So I was able to interject some things. But then, so I said, we were talk about going on a safari. And so I said, what would be the best place to go on a safari? And of course, it wasn't the Ivory Coast. And, he mentioned some other uh, African countries and so forth, and just have such a rich conversation. But before we made it light, we were talking about life itself and what it means to him living here in America. It's fascinating. It just opens you to be in any setting. And when you've traveled, you become a citizen of the world. You're not in a box with just a small thinking, and you don't, if I go someplace and I see them doing a dance, and what may appear to be voodoo or whatever it is, I'm not gonna, I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid of that. And I'm not gonna criticize them either, because that's a cultural thing. You're not afraid. Voodoo, witchcraft, I'm not afraid of that. I'm not afraid. I am not afraid. I am not afraid, because no one can do me harm. I don't believe, in that someone can. No, it doesn't. If you believe it, yeah, then it'll come upon you. But I don't. I don't. So I could watch a dance, and I could watch somebody carry on and do something different than my culture, and appreciate it. And that's what it makes you. It opens your mind. You become and non-judgmental. That's another thing. Not judging another culture and thinking yours is the best and you have the truth. No, your truth is your truth. And that's why I don't subscribe to, like, when I hear somebody talk, when I and I listen to podcasts and whatever, I don't subscribe to everything. No, because I've come to a place where I recognize that my truth comes up and shows itself to me. And as I live out my truth, things work for me. And the same will be for you. Once you discover your truth, it will work for you, because why? It is your truth. It is your truth. You can't be going off saying, this book says this and this author says this and that. No, you can read it, but you don't have to subscribe to it, because it's not your truth. And that's why in a lot of situations your life is not working, because you're trying to do stuff. You're trying to believe this, you're trying to believe that. You're trying to conform to this, you're trying to do this, you're trying to do that. You think you're this way, you think you're not worthy, you think you're a wretch, you think you're a sinner, you think, and all of that, and nothing works. Why? That is someone else's view, opinion, idea, take on life, and you buy into it. You buy into it. Who says you are invisible? You're not invisible. I see you. You see me. I see you. You see me. You're not invisible. Don't buy that. Invisible and unimportant. You have a life of your own. You set up your life. Don't depend on the on the people around you to feed and nurture you. No, you nurture yourself. You get up and you do stuff, and you take care of yourself, of the self care. Go to places you want, and once you decide that you're going to live this life, and you're going to really take the plunge and do the things that you want, you will see that you will have the opportunities to do it, whether it's travel or create a new social circle. Whatever it is, you will see how it will work for you. And it all has to do with you making a decision. This is your journey, my friend. This is your journey. Own it. Take responsibility for your life, yourself. And don't bad talk yourself, like, I don't have enough money, or this is too expensive, or I cannot afford this. Don't, again, that low budget mindset. Don't don't buy into that. Low budget mindset. You're thinking, when you are a magnificent, extraordinary being. How do you think those people that are in the 1% or whomever get there? Talk to them. Listen to how they think, what they believe, and the things that they know about themselves. That's why, again, when somebody When somebody loses money, a rich person, they say, the rich get richer, but they know how to gain it back. They come up with something else. They come up with something else. Get rid of the old mentality. It's like someone talk about, savings and, savings. That's 20th century mindset in 1900s. Yeah, you can save, you can put away money. That's good. But today it's investment. It's startup businesses. It's passive income. The whole dynamics is different. It's online business. See, that's the whole thing. Again, investment, startup, online. That's the mentality that's relevant, that's for now. Bet on yourself and take a chance, and you'll see that you'll start garnering information from all over. If you decide you want to start uh, investing, learn about trading and investments and things of that nature. And you'll see how it will come to you. If you have a business that you want to start, get into a network of people with either the same business or business minded people. That's what I did. That's what I even now. And the doors are just opening. It's getting better flow, different network. As a matter of fact, I was in this organization as a member and so forth, and I'm paying monthly dues and whatever, and then I thought, you know what, I need to revisit this because I'm not. It's a great organization, but I really wasn't. It's not my time to be in that organization at this time. And so the fee was pretty high. And then I think a couple months ago I said, you know what, I'm gonna unsubscribe. And then they said, well, you can downgrade to be a virtual participant. And I said, okay, let's do that. So I downgraded, and it was a little less. And then I thought, you know what, no, it's not for me. And yesterday I sat right there and I sent a letter to the president of the organization. And I said, despite the fact that this is a great organization and you're doing a great job, it's just not my time. I am not really getting the best. It's just not for me. I'm not really getting uh, any benefit that I need right now out of this organization. And they wrote back today, and so I won't be paying that monthly fee. Why? Because you make an assessment. You could join an organization, and if it doesn't work out, then you make an assessment and you quit it. You go to another one, and I was anyway. You find your niche, find your people that can encourage you and motivate you and lift you up and can be right there with you, because there are those of us that are ready and willing to help. And if you decide that you need a coach to walk alongside you and to help guide you, um, because you'll discover it on the inside. Sometimes we need support. I can be that. You can get in touch with me, info at thecynthialinoxshow.com. Shoot me an email and we can get started. But whether it's me or someone else, if you need help, get the help. Invest in yourself. Bet on yourself and make it happen. Don't just enjoy this as a motivational uh, show. This is to transform lives so that you can really enjoy the best season of your life now. And with that, I'm going to remind you that we have a date every Thursday, 2 p.m. Central Standard Time here. And if you can't make it for our date, then see those icons over here on the right? Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. You can pick up the show 24/7 on one of those streaming platforms. And with that, I'm going to say, Tata, it's been a delight. And I will chat with you. Well, I'll be back next Thursday, 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, and, with some more goodies to share. Ciao, tata, hasta luego. Oh, was the wrong outro. That is too funny. That was the wrong jingle. Anyway, you know what I mean. Ciao, hasta luego, ta-ta, au revoir. I'll see you next week.